I look good. What's wrong with you? You can see that joint last time. Shalom, shalom, family. Everybody. Thank y'all for being here. Today we're gonna talk about, like I said, unclean spirits. Just talking about uh, how uncleanness is a thing that brings you closer to dark forces, evil forces, things like that. People always think like when you're demonic or some type of demon, they always think it's like the extreme, like the exorcist or something like, oh, he's possessed. But actually, it has levels. It could be a level from you're doing something like stealing, cursing, things like that. I was telling my brother earlier when I talk to people and I tell them about their sales and they get mad and angry, I gotta realize I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to that thing on their shoulder. I know I've seen cartoons before, like Looney Tunes. Um, you seen like cartoons and stuff like Looney Tunes or whatnot, and it talks about like the devil right here and the angel right here. He's telling him what to do, telling him what to do. Well, that's the real thing. We just don't really see it in that fashion. It'd be kind of cool if you could just see it. I'm pretty sure you make a better decision. But when I talk to people and speak to people, they always make decisions based off of how they feel, not realizing Satan gonna make you feel the best. Hey, what you doing? Oh, you want to do that? Go ahead and do that. Not realizing he can make you unclean, or you're doing unclean things. And when you do unclean things, that's really the doorway and the opening of the portals. All right. So this is the battle. This is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. And this is really what the battle's about, right? It's not a physical battle. I learned that the hard way. So whenever you're ready, bro.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against the spiritual wickedness in high places.
All right, so you see that it says the principalities and powers and the rulers of darkness. So you're not, like I said, you're not fighting your brother. You're not fighting somebody with racism. You're not fighting somebody like that. It's actually a spirit near them, right? Whether it's a big spirit or a small spirit, and that's basically the fight, right? The fight we fight every day. Paul talks about our weapons not being carnal because you can't shoot a spirit. You can't tie him up with no rope. Only thing that can bound him is another good spirit, like one of the angels or Christ or something, right? But the only way that happens, like when Daniel was praying about the Prince of Persia, right? The other way that happens is when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and um, living in that state of righteousness. Because when you start doing sin, this is when you open the door for a lot of problems, right? So this is how it works, right? So go back to Ephesians. Let me make sure that I can see. All right. So that's the principalities, the powers, and the rulers, right? So this is how the hierarchy works. You got Satan's kingdom of darkness. So you got principalities, right? So that's just like rules and stuff they follow. Then you got powers, rules of the darkness. Then you got demonic hosts, right? So you have all these different levels. And some people always say they always think it's a demonic level, but it's lower than that. So like for instance, if you're sick, that's actually a evil spirit or unclean spirit. Like when you got like a cold or something. Oops, that was supposed to happen. I hit the wrong button. I apologize. Had to turn it off. But yeah, like when you're sick or something, you got an unclean spirit, right? Or when you go to dialysis, all these things, and people don't realize that these drugs will do these type of things, right? My this coworker, she was talking about she was having nightmares really bad, and I was like, "It's probably the medication you taking." And she was like, "You think so?" I was like, I'm positive." And she looked it up and it said it caused severe nightmares, like really bad nightmares. And I was like, "Well, you might not want to take that no more." But she was like, "I need it." But I was like, "Well, they say they don't know where nightmares come from, but it's amazing that you make something that causes like severe nightmares like all the time." Like she said, she'll have them like in the middle of the day, just be at work and have it. I'm like, why not take no pills no more? I don't care how much anxiety I got, I'll have them. So what they're doing is putting, different, I guess, items and different things, as far as medication, medicine, stuff like that, right? And I'm gonna show some pictures and show you a video how like the unclean spirits work. Like you ever thought about sometimes when you're talking and you're thinking, and you might be in the situation where you want to do right and you're like, I think I can do that, right? but then you might hear a voice, or you might think of like a different thought, like, yeah, you should do that's okay. You always check it with the Bible. I tell people all the time, you check, that's how you check if it's a bad spirit. You check if it's right, if it's righteous, because you have no idea what's going on. Hope this picture isn't scaring everybody. I know people don't into demons and stuff. I'm not into them neither, but everybody think this is always the form. Sometimes it's not the form. You know, sometimes they'll come in the form of your wife, your husband, your brother, your sister, your cousin, maybe even your children, right? Because they play, but they play by certain rules, the rules that we don't know about, which is the spiritual rules. So when you do a grievance, this is how they get you. So this is the adversary posing. This is Christ, I guess, fighting Satan in a little picture. So this is John 8:49. Let me see that scripture, boy. John chapter 8, verse 49. Go ahead.
Jesus answered, I have not a devil, but I honor my Father, and ye do dishonor me.
All right, so this is them talking to Christ, saying that he had a devil in him or whatever. He's telling him he doesn't have a devil, right? And I hear this a lot. They say Christians can't have devils. That's not true. Don't let nobody tell you that, because they don't understand what devils mean. They really think it's just this form of you being demonic or crazy. That's not the case. Excuse me. Like I said, a devil can be something small because they're just different levels. See, I was into horror movies and stuff, and he can vouch for. We watch shows, and sometimes it'd be like little demons, right? But then there's bigger ones, and then it just go up and up and up. But they all got different levels of power, right? Like I found out it's a demon called the blockade spirit, which you praying, right? You think you keep praying, you praying, and sometimes you feel like it's not working. Well, this demon's whole purpose is to try to block your prayers from getting up to God, right? Because there's certain things in that world that we don't understand. So, like listening to witches, they say when you pray and you pray in Christ's name, it's almost like a seal on the prayer they can't touch. But let's just say you praying to God, right? This is why it's important to pray through Christ. When you praying to God, they can open that, so they can see that, that prayer. Oh, okay, Eli want this, oh, Jew want this, whatever it can be. When you seal it with Christ, they can't see that, right? Because there's powers, there's levels. That's why it's called powers, principalities, ranks. Just like your job, you'll be a captain, lieutenant, sergeant. There's ranks in it. They got ranks too. They got certain rules they got to follow. The problem is we don't know the rules. I don't know why I keep doing that. All right, so next is Luke chapter 8, verse 11 through 15.
Now the parable is this: the seed is the word of God. Those by the wayside are they that hear. Then cometh the devil, and taketh away the word out of their hearts, lest they should believe and be saved. They on the rock are they, which when they hear receive the word with joy, and these have no root, which for a while believe, and in time of temptation fall away. And that which fell among thorns are they, which when they have heard go forth, and are choked with cares and riches and pleasures of this life, and bring no fruit to perfection. But that on the good ground are they which in an honest and good heart, having heard the word, keep it, and bring forth fruit with patience.
All right, so this is the parable of the sower and the seed. So people always talk about, oh, you hear the word, that's faith. Well, actually, it's not, because it's everybody in this heard the word, right? But when you hear the word, you got to be obedient to the word. And you do the word. As you can see right here, it says the ones that are wayside that hear, that come up the devil and he take away the word out their hearts, right? So you can hear the word. I can tell you how the word today, but then when you leave or whatever, the devil will take it out your heart, right? And sometimes he uses the person next to you, like I said, your wife, your husband, your brother, your sister, cousin, all those things. And while he's doing that, right, he's taking the word about your heart. You go, you go about a certain way, right? You realize like, oh well, let me not go to this place, or let me not go to this place, not realizing he may not want you there in a particular situation because it's dangerous, right? And I'm gonna tell you why it's dangerous, because of unclean spirits. So if you don't know what unclean spirits are, they are fallen angels' children. So not the angels themselves, but when they created their little offspring, like Hercules and all these people that we think is mythology, those are demons. Okay, right? So I'm gonna read about it in Genesis and Enoch. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 1 through 4. This is the creation of them right here.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be and 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown.
All right, so saying the sons of God, he's talking about the angels that came down and had sex with the women. They made themselves look like me and you or whoever, just the super perfect form. Somebody might have came, had all the teeth straight, looked super duper big. Wife like, oh, I like him. Had sex. Now they produce giants, right? So let me go to the book of Enoch. And this is some names that you might hear about: Dagon, Baal, Saja, Marduk, stuff like that, right? These are actually names of demons, right? Because what people don't know is when we keep their names in reference and we do things to honor them, that gives them energy, gives them spirit. It's like when you pray to Christ, right? Because spirit and energy is real. This is why you have like the planets. I don't believe the planets are real, but just think about them. You got one called Earth, and the rest of them are all named after gods: Neptune, Pluto, stuff like that, right? It's so we can always remember them, keep the remembrance, because that's how they get their power. They want to be like God. They want to be ruled. So the giants, right? So you already know about what's that? David and Goliath. They always talk about Goliath, and Goliath's like a 10-foot giant, right? So this is a giant after the flood. So the giants after the flood about 10, 15 feet, maybe 12, something like that, which is pretty big. It's a pretty big human. But before the flood, it was pretty big. This is me right here. This picture. This is me at what is this place called? The National Harbor, and this is a statue called the Awakening. I don't know if anybody see it. You see them kids down there? It's not showing. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. Something wrong with the stupid computer. So you see that I guess that's a foot, right? That's how big he's supposed to be from his foot, and that right there at the corner is like his head, right? So these are things that were happening in the flood. So this is the real reason why God flooded the earth. He didn't flood the earth because people were sinning. He flooded the earth because he had to get rid of the giants, get rid of all the angels' children. This is some girl. She was in the way of my picture, but whatever. And that's how big she is. She like a hot dog compared to this man, right? So just imagine if, yeah. Hey, come on, man. Come on, man. I got to tell you, man. Yeah, that's his face. Yeah, yeah. He not from DC. Why would he see that? Oh, yeah. It's at the harbor though, right? So that's the side of his face, and then I got a picture. Let's see if it changes. Man, it didn't change.
What's this guy supposed? I mean, this guy was supposed to be.
All right, huh?
I'm sorry. What's his name supposed to be?
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, it's called the Awakening.
What's his name?
I have no idea. They're not going to tell you that because they don't want you to believe this is real. I'm just showing them like a scale size of what they were was going on. So that's supposed to be his arm.
Was that you standing next to his arm?
Yeah.
Oh, that's diabolical.
Oh, come on, man. Why not change it? Not today. Yeah, that's me standing next to the arm. I think I'm a big guy too, man. I think what I'm saying. I don't think I'm a little guy. I'm not the biggest guy.
What you looking at, man? Who you looking at over there? Fish?
I don't even know, man. I'm not gonna deal with you with this camera thing right now, but yeah, that's how big this thing is, right? So I couldn't only imagine just a bunch of those. Like we would be destroyed. And nothing we could do. I couldn't do that with him. Yeah, because I don't think the weapons we got today would do anything. So this one right here, this is an actual real giant though. Like this isn't a statue. Like this is a giant that was around during the flood, and I believe he got petrified. So yeah, I know it's crazy, right? But this the thing though, the floods were petrified. It's like you're getting fossilized in about minutes. So you know how they have like fossils, right? They'll say that the fossils took like periods and long periods of time. But the problem is they have fossils of animals with stuff happening. So they got fossils of mammoths with food in their mouth.
Right.
You wouldn't have food in your mouth if this was a long period of time of freezing. It's like an instant freeze almost, and it's happening through the flood. So what's happening is you're getting swallowed up by mud, rock. That's why you see like how if you look at his body, it look like his stuff is dripping off of him. That's like rocks and sediments and all that. But it's going to like freeze you or petrify you like a wood. Like matter of fact, like you know how you remember was that Ernest Scared Stupid, and the troll was touching him and he turned him into wood. He's petrifying him. That's what he was
If
doing.
you look up petrified wood, it's the same concept. Because the wood's just been sitting there for so long, it essentially absorbed all the minerals, nutrients, all that kind of stuff, and so the wood turned to stones. Like
Yep.
Noah's Ark.
at the mountain Turkey.
So yeah, so I believe he was. I guess he was because like if you look right, well, it's kind of hard because I guess the way it's blown up. But if you look at his leg right there, it looked like a little red. So it like he was hurt. Like as if he got hit by something, he was bleeding. And he probably like, dang, let me try to band-aid it up. Like, what's going on? Boy, there we go. Phew. And then now he get, stuck in time. Cause that's not a sculpture though. That's like nobody built that or anything. That is not a sculpture. That thing is in the middle of the where's this? Somewhere overseas. Just remind me when this will be done. I'll tell you because I came across so many. It's a lot of these little petrified giants, just like all over or whatever. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to show you some videos of me pictures of some other stuff. So this is Enoch chapter 15. Let's go a little more in depth about the Watchers. Oh man, you gonna be tough to find that. Nope. Yeah, I've been marking them. That's 13.
Cool. Yeah, 1 through 12.
Yeah, basically, I think it's the whole jump. So you'll stop right there.
Okay.
It's on the screen, right? I gotta make sure. I don't know what's going on. Why I got this bad delay.
And he answered and said to me, and I heard his voice, Fear not, Enoch, thou righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Approach hither and hear my voice. And go, say to the watchers of heaven who have sent thee to intercede for them. You should intercede for men, and not men for you. Wherefore have ye left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begot giants as your sons? And though ye were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh. And as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those also do who die and perish. Therefore have I given them wives also, that they might impregnate them, and begat children by them, that thus nothing might be wanting to them on earth. But you were formerly spiritual, living the eternal life, and immortal for all generations of the world. And therefore I have not appointed wives for you, for as for the spiritual ones of the heaven, in heaven is their dwelling. And now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men, and from the holy watchers is their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. As for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of the earth, which were born upon the earth shall be their dwelling. And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and against the children of men and against the women, because they have proceeded from them.
All right, so it says that he causes trouble, take no food, nevertheless, right? So the reason why you have certain things, the people that have like these, I guess say lustful desires and they can't stop them, it's not because it's just a human thing. That's a demon. Like you ever seen somebody that's fat? My brother sends me this fat guy all the time, right? He be eating so much food, right? He had like 60 nuggets. Yeah, 60 nuggets. We had like 5 boxes of fries. He had 2 Big Macs. He had 4 Cokes. I'm talking about like big large. He was like, "This is a snack." I said, "A snack for who? The Hulk." But the reason why he's able to eat is because the demon is eating it, right? He's never going to be satisfied. You know how we eat something, you feel full, whatever. When the demon's eating, he don't feel satisfied. Point in case, think his name is Slimer on Ghostbusters. All Slimer do is eat. Go, 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 go. He ain't never gonna be full. You ever seen Casper, Fatso, right? They eat, they never gonna be full because they have desires that can't be fulfilled because they used to be on Earth like us, fleshly bodies, and they want that. So what they do is they come up in you when you do unclean things. Like, okay, I want to be Isaiah for the day. I want to be Jude for the day. I want to be Eli for the day. And they'll do these sinful things because they're trying to, that's the only way they're gonna be able to do what they do because spirits can't, smoke and do these type of things. So that's why you can see somebody eat their way into into death. You can see somebody fornicate their way into death, or people be doing drugs. I'm like, how much drugs can you do? Like, you're doing crystal meth and like all these type of things. What was happening is the demon can feel that. They can get high. They can feel the pleasure of sex. But see, you lose because you're dying with uncleanliness. You're dying on the sin. But when you die, they just go to the next body because all they're trying to do is fulfill their lust. But there's no satisfying that, and that's the danger when people don't realize the sins and stuff they're committing. Right. So this is chapter 16 of Enoch. It changed. Okay, I gotta make sure it changed right here. I gotta make sure it changed on the screen.
From the days of the slaughter and destruction and death of the giants, from the souls of whose flesh the spirits, having gone forth, shall destroy without incurring judgment. Thus shall they destroy until the day of the consummation, the great judgment in which the age shall be consummated over the watchers and the godless, yea, shall be wholly consummated. And now, as to the watchers who have sent thee to intercede for them, who had been aforetime in heaven, say to them, you have been in heaven, but all the mysteries had not yet been revealed to you, and you knew worthless ones, and these in the hardness of your hearts you have made known to the women, and through these mysteries women and men work much evil on earth, and say to them, therefore you have no peace.
So this is him telling them like, look, the angels knew a whole bunch, so they aware of God, they aware of this, but they don't know everything. So that I guess they figure they go down there and sin is like, well, God probably forgive me because he planned on forgiving them, right? That ain't how it's working because it's different. Like we don't know God the way they do. They've seen God. You've never seen God. I've never seen God. They've seen Him, so they seem like they should know better, right? And they do these things, and then they have children. Well, He told them in chapter 15 they immortal, so there's no point of you having children because you're gonna die anyway, right? We have children because we can die, right? So you have somebody to carry on your legacy, keep your family going, your bloodline, and that's how Christ was here, through the bloodline of David. But they don't have all that, so they got a different set of rules because they're different things. They're ministering spirits. They're supposed to help us, right? And when he's talking about interceding, so what happened was they're supposed to intercede for us, right? They're supposed to be the ones talking to us, so they're talking to me and him. Hey, y'all shouldn't do this. Y'all shouldn't do that. So when they sinned, they went to Enoch. It was like, yo, Enoch, can you intercede for us? And God, like, why would I let them? Why would I let you intercede for them? That's crazy. It's supposed to be the other way around. They knew better. They got to get punished, right? So this is Matthew chapter 12, verses 43 and 45, or 43 through 45.
When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits, more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked generation.
All right, so let's say you had a demon, right? Let's say I had a demon of lust. I got rid of it. Boom, he gone, right? He's mad because I'm cleaning myself, right? When you fast, you do stuff like that, you clean yourself. He's upset. He like, man, we can't get you to watch nasty movies and stuff no more. So he's upset. So he's just roaming around trying to find a body. But he liked where he was at with me. He liked what was going on X, Y, Z. So what he would do is he go get other spirits. So he may get like a spirit of gambling or greed or something, right? And then try to get them to affect another one of my flaws. So let's say I'm a gambler or something like that. He'll try to get this one to give me the gamble. But when I open back up to this one, the door open up so now they all can come in. Right. So now you got multiple things. So now you gambling, you fornicating, you doing it all. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically how it works. So come on, computer. All right, so these are terms. I gotta go with these terms real quick. You don't gotta do this part. So these are terms I gotta talk about. Next one is Revelation though, 18 and 2. So this the first one. This is the Hebrew word tamei. It means unclean, foul in a religious sense. The foul, infamous, polluted, unclean. The Greek word. Sorry. I see it on my screen. I don't know why it's not coming up on the screen. There we go. All right. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. It's just happening. This is what the devil was working today. I'm telling you, he been on my line. All right, so this is the Greek word for unclean. It's ektarthos, and it says presumed, derivative of meaning cleansed, impure, morally, specifically demonic, right? So, like I said, when you see these words, it says unclean, but also says morally, right? Morally lose. So, you breaking your morals is a way of being unclean. It's not always because you're doing witchcraft, right? Right? It's not always because you're doing witchcraft, because witchcraft is just probably like the super big gateway. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain ways to get in places, and there's certain ways not to get in. So if you die, when I was asking Mr. Thomas about his situation, I was just saying like, did he happen to go to the spirit world? Mr. Mikey was talking about the spirit world, or like the dream situation. When you dream, you sleep, you don't know where you've been. That's a way to get in the spirit world, but you're not supposed to go there by yourself. If you don't have no protection like Christ, it's a very dangerous place to go. When people do mushrooms, acid, you're touching the spirit realm. But what you're doing is, instead of you coming through God's through world through the front door, you're going around the back door. It's not safe. So now you put yourself in a real dangerous spot. This is more terms about being sickness and stuff, right? So this is, I got you. Hold on. So this is the sick term in the Hebrew. It's called kalal, right? It says properly be rubbed to warm, to be weak, sick, afflicted, grieve, stroke, entreat, disease, grievous, things like that. So when somebody say you sick, it's not always necessarily you being sick, far as like, oh, I'm sick, I got a cold, right? Sometimes it could be you're evil, you're doing bad things. 'Cause I can say somebody who's like a stripper is sick. I can say somebody's a drug dealer is sick. I can say somebody who's doing gambling or something like that is sick. And it clarifies that in the other word, sick, A605, which is anash, right? It says to be frail, feeble, desperately wicked, incurable, or woeful. Well, woeful don't got nothing to do with sick, right? But it can mean that's what you're going on your destruction. Even in the Greek word, right? It says badly, physically, or morally. They're the moral thing again. Sometimes, it's like I said, it's a moral aspect. So even when you're quote unquote sick, it's not always a sickness. Far as like I said, you just oh God, I don't know, the bird flu, one of the flus, the new flu, whatever it's called, right? It's not always that case. A couple more words. The devil, right? 87700, the Hebrew word, daemon. Have you ever seen that on your emails? Like Damon email or daemon? I used to always see it. I was like, man, let's close to David. I'm going to show you. So you see that word, 87736? Just look at that one. So the next one is G1140, and this is daemonian, which is another word for a demon, extending evil. Now you see it says God. They also call gods, right? So don't, that's why I don't like using that term as much as I used to, but I use it because I know I have to be on certain people's levels to understand. But God just means like a power or a ruler. So we could be God. You could be a God at your job technically, or like a judge, right? And then you got the other one says Damon. Has anybody ever seen an email like this? It says daemon refers to a background process program that runs on the computer, similar to service in Windows without direct user interaction, right? Which is crazy they picked this Dame, which is means demon. I get emails like this all the time. Let me show you. Like this. You see it's like mailer Damon?
Hey,
I get
yeah,
those.
I be seeing
You
that.
be seeing those, right?
But I
Yeah.
got, but I
Yeah.
know what you're talking. I'm sorry.
Sometimes when you it's like you send an email to somebody.
Big thing,
Yeah, you might send an email to somebody, and let's say the address is messed up, it'll send it back. But I was like, why would you say mailer date like that? To me, it's always too close to demon. So I was doing my studies, and God showed this to me. I'm like, oh, this whole time, there's a demon in the computer. This is crazy. So I get emails like this all the time, or I'll get like a text message, and it'll say mailer demon. Like, who is that? You couldn't have just said mailer mistake, or mailer my bad. Why does it have to say mailer demon? So even people be thinking, like I said, demonics are just on this stat. Now they're everywhere, computers, all those type of different things, right? So habitation, we're going to talk about the habitation of the devil because this is where they at, and I'm going to show you this is why they call it the habitation of the devil. So this is Revelation 18, chapter 18, verse 2.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
And I believe right now this is Babylon. So it's not talking about Babylon overseas. It's not talking about Babylon back in Jeremiah's time. This is just like a spiritual version of Babylon, right? And I believe this is America. And it's telling you it's the habitation of the devils, right? So habitation, we all know, is like where you live, like a habitat. All right. So this is Deuteronomy 32, chapter 32, verse 16 through 17. And I'm going to show y'all how much we've been worshiping devils. You probably don't even know it.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, with abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not. to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not.
All right. So he's saying that this is back in Moses' time, right? So they're over here doing all kind of stuff with wild gods, things like that. Not realizing, like I said, God's biggest issue isn't really about you sinning, right? It's obedience because He wants you to know that He's the only one you should be serving, right? So we always get punished. You will get punished throughout time in history because they're serving other gods, and other gods got other rules, and He don't want you to follow those rules because those rules is dangerous, and you can be harmed. So this is Psalms 106 and 36 through 37. All right, so I'm just kidding.
And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils.
All right, so they sacrifice their sons, daughters, and the devils. They do that nowadays when you have abortion, things like that, or whatever. This is the new version of it. But people see the problem is people don't see the giant statue and like, oh well, they can't be doing it. But what you don't know is all they got to do is get you to do it. The way is irrelevant. I just need you to do the same thing that y'all been doing, which we get them your children, right? So anybody know what this is? Have I ever seen that?
Seeing that movie Mask, I am.
Yeah.
It looks like the mask.
Yeah, it's the mask, right? That's the mask. That's what Jim Carrey put on.
Talked about
Yeah, that's the mask of Loki, right? And Loki is some type of god of mischief, god of wickedness, god of deceit. When you watch the mask, that's what he's doing. He's cheating people, deceiving people, doing mischief.
It's weird 'cause
And it's all
people in
normal.
Marvel don't do that.
Yeah, he do. He's like the most deceiving
Well,
person in the world.
okay, yeah, he might do that, but he don't got a mask, though.
Yeah, he don't have to he don't have to have a mask, right? Because this is the mask of Loki. This isn't Loki.
You know who does though? Doomsday.
Yeah. So he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't have the. He doesn't have the mask because he is the actual God, right? But this is his form for you to worship him, right? So when you see people that may have this in their house, they might go to stores. This is giving honor to that. So this is like an idol. You get what I'm saying? This, so you don't have to know the real Loki because you ain't gonna know him. But he gonna be like, well, I'm gonna put my mark here somehow. Just like it's almost like his merchandise, right? You use his merchandise. This is what's gonna happen. This is another thing I found, right? So this is Gorgo, some type of I don't know what it is. Like it looked like Godzilla, but nah, it looked like Godzilla just destroyed the city. But Gorgo is the name of a demon, right? But when they making these movies and stuff, these people aren't just making movies because it's like, oh, I was talking to Isaiah, had a good idea. No, they're using drugs. They're getting whispers in their ear from demons to tell them the right stories about them. Right, I'm an artist, right, and I create things all the time. I have never been able to come up with something wicked, like really wicked. I'd be like, where do you get that from? You haven't seen the movie Gremlins, right? When you put the water on them, they turn out monsters. What that's what demons look like. So those are like smaller form demons that they use. Like I told you, they come in different levels. But you're not gonna know that. You're going to think it's some cute little Furby character or whatever, and they pass off as a movie. But when we go watch these, we're invoking spirits, we're invoking the demons, we're giving them power, we're giving them praise, and that's what they want. You just don't know that, and they turn it into Hollywood and say it's magical and stuff like that. This is Pluto, right? You name a dog Pluto. Well, Pluto is one of the Greek gods, right? So now they put it into a form of a dog, and now all the kids, go see dogs. I was in Disney World. One of the kids was like, "Man, I'll die for you, Pluto." I'm like, "This ain't even a real thing. This ain't a real person, right?" But that's actually giving reverence to the fallen angels or their spirits. There's another one, Peter Pan. He's the worst of the worst, all right? And I used to like this cartoon, right? 'Cause I thought it was like, okay, this is weird. I know parents on the island, but I'm like, where are the parents at? And people always, and this is how they do it, right? So
Neverland.
yeah, so what they do, because you realize Peter Pan's not a regular boy.
Nope.
Yeah,
It's so true.
yeah.
People are afraid to say that.
He's not a regular boy, but if you go look at the story of Pan, somebody play music and he leads kids away, right? And so what happens is when you watching the movie, when you look at it from that, when you change that narrative or look at the aspect, yeah, Captain Hook is one of the boys he took and put him over here.
Good guy.
Yeah, so he's trying to get everybody get him out of here.
Always love Hook.
Yeah, so but they always have a villain, which would be them. He's a villain, right? But they make him the hero because they make another villain look like they're worse, right? Most shows and TV shows and stuff like that, they always got like a bad guy who's supposed to be like really, really bad when he really be actually a good person or has good, intentions. And the hero is the one who got all the moral problems. Your Spider Mans, your Batmans, all these, they have all these problems, right? So this is some band I found. They're called Tunritter, right? They all look crazy. They all do like some evil rock and roll, got all the upside down crosses. Well, come to find out, this is another name of a demon. This is some type of high rank demon in hell. They got like different levels. But where would you come up with this name from? Somebody has to tell you this, right? This ain't information you just wake up to like, I'm gonna name my band this. Because I've been in a rap group. I didn't name my band no demon name. And I looked for multiple names. But if this is like this everywhere, right? This is Dracula. Well, this is one version of him.
Oh,
He's a high ranked demon too. Like so they got demons, like I say, that's over the gates of hell. But just think about how many Dracula movies have been out since TV been out. Like he's like one of the biggest characters. Ain't that right, Vampire Boy? Yeah, he like vampires. He like big with the grows. Right? This is another character I found, some animated character named Habarim, right? People are just not coming up with these names, right? They're getting them from somewhere in sources. But people think that somebody just being really, really creative. Like I said, I've created a concept for my own cartoon. I never came up with any of these kind of names, like none of these names. And I tried my hardest to come up with like, oh, that's gonna be a cool name. And then when I see the names that's already in TV, like this one, this is called the Demigorgon. This is in a show called Stranger Things. Well, this is the name of another demon, right? But now you got people cosplaying as Demigorgon and stuff like that, not realizing you're invoking spirits or paying homage to spirits. Just like if somebody was go to church and want to dress for God or do God, well, you're doing this for the demons. Y'all see this, right? Who this look like?
Batman.
It looked like Batman, so I thought it was Batman, but this is some type of demon over there from the ancient Aztecs. But he looks just like Batman, right? This is where they got it from. Batman isn't something that somebody created made or make do named Bruce Wayne or Batman. No, they stole it from this demon, right? All these Thor, all these people, Oshun, they're demons. Like Aquaman, that's a name that they changed the name a little bit so you won't be known, but it's a name of some type of African deity or some type of Greek deity or Roman. I play like a lot of video games and stuff like that. This is a statue in DC. I don't know what this is, but it's not a regular person, right? Why did it do that? Okay. So statue of DC is not a regular person. This is another statue. I'm guessing this is supposed to be Poseidon, but all these things is around, right? This is George Washington. I don't know why he's standing in the form of Jupiter, but that's supposed to be Jupiter right there. Another Greek person or whatever. I never liked George Washington to begin with, right? I don't trust him. People who wear wigs scare me. Especially when it's a man. So this right here is a some type of I guess quote unquote Native American or Aztec little demon monster. I don't know what it is, but these statues are everywhere, right? But people don't know these statues are like they're like gates or portals, things to talk to. So for instance, when I say like powers, ranking and stuff, every city, every country, every county, every town has demon rankings because that's how Satan has to communicate, through people. So he got like almost like a telephone line. So we in Capitol Heights right now. There's a Capitol Heights demon. There's a Forestville demon, a District Heights demon, a Fairmont demon, right? And what's happening is they all report to what's going on. So let's say somebody gets murdered in Capitol Heights, somebody's doing this. The demons, the little demons, like the little gremlin ones, they go around. They figuring out what's going on, right? They reported to the Capitol Heights demon. So they reported to the Capitol Heights demon. They're like, well, okay, do you see anybody doing good? So let's say I'm out here preaching. They're like, yeah, it's this dude named Jew. We tired of him. Let's figure him out. Okay, let's send this his way. Let's send this his way. And they're all like, almost like they're calling Satan on the phone because he doesn't have access like God to see everything at all times. So he got to have a whole bunch of, agents or whatever the case may be. This thing scares the crap out of me. This is some some little this is called like I think they call it like the Guardian, but before you get to this palace, this is the statue that you see, right? This is Pazuzu. If you ever seen the movie Exorcist, the little demon face that you see, or the demon that's supposed to be the demon in the movie, this is his statue. This is what they build. And they say statue of Allah, right? Which is crazy. So you may think it's Allah, you may think it's that, but it's really a demon, right? They just change their names depending on who they talking to in their different languages, right? Because like I said, they can't just come out and tell you like we demonic or we're demons. Because you're not gonna follow. You're not gonna do that. Same thing with here. These are more demons, like little guardians, right? But people don't realize that's why you ever go to certain places, you get eerie feelings and stuff. It's really because the energy's there. The demons are could be encased in like a statue or something like that. So this is a scene from what's that movie called? Wonder Woman, and I'm trying to show you this is how they talk. So it's a girl on here, one of the I guess German scientists. She blowing her face off. She's trying to make chemicals and bombs, but she's struggling, right? Because she can't get the formula together. And I always told somebody, like, you think like this technology that we have is normal? You think this is human technology? Like, somebody got to tell you, like, how do you know where to find uranium? Because I didn't know uranium was a metal. Like, who told you that you could just find it in a certain place and then you put it with this, it'll turn out to be a bomb? Somebody has to tell you that. Unless you would do a lot of trial and error like this girl was too. And in this video is going to show Ares talking to her and telling her what to make, and she makes the right concoction to make a bomb.
Mankind stole this world from us. They ruined it day by day. And I, the one wise enough to see it, was left too weak to stop them. All these years I have struggled alone, whispering into their ears ideas, inspiration for formulas, weapons. But I don't make them use them. They start these wars on their own. All I do is orchestrate an armistice I know they cannot keep in the hope they will destroy themselves. But it has never been enough. I tell you.
All right, so you see, he said during the time he'll whisper in their ears and stuff like that. He said he'll make nobody do nothing, which is true. Like, you can have a firearm, it don't make you shoot nobody, right? But what happens is somebody stole something from you or did something to you. The Satan like, man, you go ahead and shoot him. And you're like, what? And you keep getting that thought in your head, and then you wind up doing it. They can't make you do anything, right? But then when you do that act, then it's a portal that opens up. Same thing with like smoking and stuff like that. A portal opens up, so now they may have access to you for a day. They may have it to you for 30 days. They may have it to you for the rest of your life. Who knows? But when you do unrighteous things and stuff like that, and you're sinning, this is what creates those access and portals, right? So this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 2. This is good news, though. This verse is good news.
And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and they shall no more be remembered. And also I will cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land.
So it says it's called the prophets and the unclean spirit. So even the evil ones got, prophets that preach for them and stuff like that, right? You may have somebody like your Joe Biden's and all that. I would consider them like the evil prophets, right? And the unclean spirits that they're using, God gonna get rid of all of them. So this is a future prophecy when God's talking about removing all the hosts and stuff that we come across. So this is a picture of some of God hates idols. As you can see, this lady's bowing down or praying to, I don't know, I guess this would be like a form of Buddha. It says, regardless of whether they are Roman Catholic, Protestant, Hindu, Buddhist, or any other religion. Mind you, Protestant is a Christian too. Or any other religion, idols are abomination to God. It says, but the hour cometh now is when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him, right? Because like I said, there's got to be somebody that you seek. When some people are like, yeah, ain't God, it's all the same, Allah, Buddha. No, it's not the same. Those are different kind of people because they don't have the same rules. If you ever go read like the Quran and all that stuff, it's not really a story. It's just a bunch of things you should do. You shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. But also say you should kill people and treat people bad. I mean, they got some stuff they don't tell you about, but it's not a storybook, not a book full of prophecies. It's prophecies, all right? So this is sickness, how people are becoming sick. So this is Luke chapter 5, verses 29 through 32.
And Levi made him a great feast in his own house, and there was a great company of publicans and of others that sat down with him. But their scribes and Pharisees murmured against his disciples, saying, why do ye eat and drink with publicans and sinners? And Jesus answering said unto them, they that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance.
So they asked in Christ, why are you sitting down with all the politicians and all the people that's doing bad. And he's like, look, they the ones that sick, right? But he don't mean sick like, oh, you got a cough, right? He means sick because they unclean. They got things they want to do, all these desires. This will make you unclean because this is what opens the door for a demon. They have to get you to open the door somehow. This is why they talk about like the welcome mats on your floor. You shouldn't have those because when you say welcome, you invoke them in. Right, like in the movie Sinners, the vampires they gotta have permission to come in. You ever seen any vampire movie? Right, vampires just can't come in. They have to
They
be.
can't just bite you.
Nah, they got you. You got to get them permission. There's rules to it, but people don't realize when you open yourself to the uncleanliness, you give them permission, whether you know it or not. Right. That's why you shouldn't even talk or engage with demons because they're gonna be slick with their words, but they need permission to do certain things. Because they didn't need permission, we'd just be dead. They'll just kill us. It'll be really easy, right? But there's got to be some rules inside because God's trying to protect you. So when you're denying certain things or you're not believing in God, you're not accepting certain things, these are how these problems come about. Wine and spirits, right? I used to go to stores all the time, and I was like, "Why in the world is this place called Wine and Spirits?" Right? Mind you, I still go get alcohol, still go drinking XYZ, wine and spirits. But there's a difference between wine and spirits. Wine is the fermentation of fruit by itself. You just let it fruit. You ever been to like the 7-Eleven and seen one of those little fruit containers they got? Let that junk sit out. It's not gonna mold or nothing. It's gonna turn really, really like spiky like vodka. Like it was almost like you're drinking. That's how you make the moonshine, right? You let stuff sit, put it in a jar of water, it'll ferment. 'Cause that's how they do in jail too. They don't have no alcohol machine or nothing. You just let fruit or vegetables spoil you. That's how you get wine and stuff. Spirits is different because what happens is when you do that, right? You do have a certain level of fermentation that goes on, which causes this buzz or drunkenness feeling. But what they do to make the spirits, they start doing the process of let me show you. It's called distillation, right? So this is a fact. The word alcohol is an Arabic term, right? It means body eating spirit. And the source of the word ghoul, alcohol lowers the body circadian rhythm, which leads to more susceptible to low vibrations entities. Hence, their irrational, more violent, more sexual, less logical tendencies associated with consumption. Alcohol weakens the connection with one's higher self by killing brain cells, both figuratively and allegorically, consuming you, not the other way around. Many are aware we already live inside an ancient religious cult who are schooled concerning the dark powers of alcohol. This cult is what popularizes through the media and government and controls a severe and very ancient and dark agenda, right? Because this is the thing, though, right? You rarely even see wine commercials even advertised, right? And they also alternate wine. You always see hard liquor, vodkas, all that other stuff, right?
Seltzers.
That's the spirits though, because they have to put it in a machine. If y'all know what's that? Shameless. I think we watched Shameless. He was down in the basement. You have to do a lot to get it to be that strong.
It's like a whole alchemist type thing.
But when you do that, right, you're also taking away the nutrients from the fruits or vegetables that was there. It's gone. So now it's just pure. It's just pure alcohol. This is what they call it spirits. It's almost like a concoction that they're making. Like witchcraft, right? You see how it says natural production, it says yeast naturally converts the sugars and fruits, grains and vegetables into alcohol during fermentation process. This process is used to create alcohol beverages. Sorry, I can't see that. I'm sorry. Y'all can see it now. Probably can't see it on the thing. But it says it needs naturally convert sugar and fruits, grains, and vegetables into alcohol during the fermentation process. This process is used to create alcoholic beverages like beer and wine. And it gives examples of what it does, sugars and grape, vodka from the sugar. So vodka even can be naturally from potatoes, right? But this is when man changes it, makes it come different. You see what say distillation, it says the process used to increase the concentration of alcohol in a fermented liquid often used to create spirits, right? This is what they call them because when you let it actually ferment by itself, it may only have like 2 or 3% alcohol. But I've seen some alcohol, it'd be like 70%, 80%. That's all because they putting it through this machine. So what they're doing is remove all the nutrients. And they do that with everything though. Like when you get flour and sugar, they suck all the nutrients out and give you the bad. Like white table salt. It should be pink or something. Like, like the Himalayan salt. They suck all the nutrients out, boom, give you this. This is why we be so sick. Like when I feed y'all food, I try to find you the cleanest things, the things with the least amount of things. Like when it says like natural flavors and stuff like that. Sometimes that could be wood chips, right? They don't have to disclose what that is to you, right? But then when your body's sick, you get sick, and then when you get sick, you go to the people who got the sickness or the cures for the sickness, and you start taking these medicines, NyQuil, Tylenol, all these other stuff. But these other stuff causing more problems. So like when you sick, right? you be spitting up mucus and stuff like that. That's actually a good sign. That's what your body's supposed to do, is kicking it out. But as you know, when you drink Tylenol and Tylenol, like your Tylenol and NyQuil, it actually dries the mucus up. This is why you can't get. That's why you stay sick, because the mucus can't go nowhere because that was stuck. It's almost like a dried up booger. It's not gonna go up now. But if it was wet, it's still moisture. Boop, it'll pop up. It is crazy because I used to drink. I drank a NyQuil. I drank the whole bottle. I drank the whole bottle. Nothing happened. Yeah, it's crazy. It worked, right? But it may take. No, it's gonna work,
It
right?
like suppressed his voice.
It's gonna work because your body is working extra harder, right? When they say take NyQuil, say the dosage, right? I've taken a whole bottle, like literally over a time period, right? When I take black seed oil, within the next day I'm fine. There's no sore throat. I'm nothing's happening. My friend had the flu pandemic. He had one of those, right? And he was like, man, he was really sick. I gave him some black seed oil. His nose was like this. It just started running out. And I was like, yeah, because it's pushing it out. But the medicines we take, it keeps it in. They want you to be sick. 'Cause you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna go buy more. Why would they cure you? It's the same thing as a drug dealer. I need to make you a customer. I don't need you a one-time thing. I need you to come back to me. That's the, what I'm saying? That's the reason why they do it. So this is Mark chapter 1, verse 29 through 34. You go ahead.
And forthwith, when they were come out of the synagogue, they entered into the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. But Simon's wife's mother lay sick of a fever, and anon they tell him of her. And he came and took her by the hand and lifted her up, and immediately the fever left her, and she ministered unto them. And at even when the sun did set, they brought unto him all that were diseased, and them that were possessed with devils. And all the city was gathered together at the door, and he healed many that were sick of diverse diseases, and cast out many devils, and suffered not the devils to speak, because they knew him.
Oh, you're good. All right. So it says that his mom was laid sick, right? So his mom was laid sick. She had a fever. Christ said, come on out. Boom, it goes away, right? But then when it goes on, it really talks about devils. So I'm going to show you a scripture when I got to make sure it was on the screen because it's killing me. You just read Mark 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is Mark 7. Mark 7, verse 24 through 30. That's on the screen. Okay.
And from thence he arose and went into the borders of Tyre and Sidon, and entered into an house, and would have no man know it, but he could not be hid. For a certain woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him, and came and fell at his feet. The woman was a Greek, a
Syrophoenician.
Syrophoenician by nation, and she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. But Jesus said unto her, let the children first be filled, for it is not meet to take the children's bread, and to cast it unto the dogs. And she answered and said unto him, yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. And he said unto her, for this saying, go thy way, the devil is gone out of thy daughter. And when she was come to her house, she found the devil gone out, and her daughter laid upon the bed.
All right, see now it says devil at the end, but at first it said unclean spirit, right? But you don't hear people talking about this as a demonic situation because, like I said, it's not a demonic situation. Like when somebody's saying that, like they bipolar, that's a demon, right? There's no such thing bipolar. You just forget stuff and you black out. And they said they have medicine. The medicine is not helping them better, right? I used to talk to a girl it's like that. It's not helping you better. It's making it worse, right? Because now it's giving you a validation or excuse. 'Cause that's what the demons want. Because what the demon wants to do is isolate you or make everybody feel like uh make you feel like everybody's going against you. That is the perfect definition of somebody's bipolar, right? They was, oh, I just did that because I just be flipping out. Or I'm doing this. That ain't you, right? This is a demon, right? But what he does, because you know what you're looking for the green eyes and the exorcist stuff. It's not like that. If you have it's a, you think the phrase is scary? You don't think that's scary, right?
No, not really.
All right, so I don't want y'all to watch no scary movies, but I think it's a good movie called Nefarious. Not a scary movie, but he explains about how the demons work. He said what we do is they make you do little things over time. He said sometimes it's you a kid, you stole a candy bar, or you talking bad to your mom, right? He said sometimes that's us doing that. Like the demons actually, because you open that door, you've been angry with somebody, you hate somebody, you ever hate somebody, like I can't stand you, I hate you. Pooh, that's all he needed. He just need to operate with you in 30 seconds, 2 minutes, right? And when he does that, right, it builds up over time. Because what you don't realize is the more unclean you are, the more chances they have to do something worse. And he said over time it gets to a point where you would think that this person is a normal person. Like, oh, he's just being mean, he's just being nasty. The whole time it's the demon. But then when you get so far down the line, because you've been doing unclean act after unclean act after unclean act, now the vessel open up real big, and now you can't control it to the point where like he was on death row, right?
Yeah.
He was on death row, and you get a last meal, right? So he let the dude talk, and the dude was like, "Yeah, I want macaroni and cheese, a steak, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah." So when it was time to get the last meal, the demon took over. Was like, "No, I don't want that. You ain't getting nothing." And the crazy part about it was, right, the guy was trying to call for help, but the other guy didn't believe in demons and stuff like that. He told him who he was, he didn't believe him. He made up a lie. He didn't believe it. He's like, yo, I can lie to you. You don't believe me. I tell you the truth. You don't believe me. What is it going to take for you to believe who I am, who I am? And that's the deceit, because most people don't believe in that. Me and him we've come across so many girls that think they're doing good things, like they do good witchcraft or they do good tarot card readings or good stones. There's no such thing as good nothing, right? When it comes to bad, if something is already bad and you got to put good in front of it, it's not good, right? You're just that's like saying, oh, I got a good porn video, or I got a good murder case. That's not good. You already have a bad deed. But this is what they do, and they'll really believe this, but not realizing they justify them. And this is the reason, and not knowing this is the reason why they struggle with certain things. So let's say a girl says she can't get pregnant, right? But if she goes to like a witch doctor or something to get pregnant, it's not that she can't get pregnant. What she don't realize, if she sold her soul already, the pregnancy rights goes to the demon. And the only way you get them back is if you go to the demon. So he can give you a baby, but he got the pregnancy rights. But this is all stuff they don't understand, because they know they're thinking, like I said, they think the demonic act is this straightforward. Oh yeah, I just worship the devil, I pray the devil. It's not it. They come in small things. They come in like small packages, and then they become bigger over time, right? So this is another example, right? This is Luke chapter 4, 31, 41. I'm trying to give y'all as many examples I can give you to show you that it's just not this particular somebody flipping off the walls. That's when they doing that, they got the max. We got to call in everybody. We got to call in the doctors, all the priests, XYZ. But even still, with the exorcism, that's not a good thing. Exorcisms don't cast out demons. They make a deal with them. There's no casting out, because when Christ cast out, he just cast them out. When the Exorcist cast them out, you ever seen the movie Exorcist? They couldn't get Pazu out the girl, and he was like, "Look, leave her alone, take me." And Pazu was like, "Oh, bet." And he took him, and that's when he threw the window and killed himself. They don't just leave with an exorcism, because that's not how they're cast out, right? You got to be cast out by prayer, cast out by faith, cast out by fasting. They're not no just throwing water on something. That's why they be laughing like, this is funny, yeah. But the movies make you think that that's how this works. That's not how this works, okay? So this is Luke chapter 4, 31, verse 31 through 41.
And came down to Capernaum, a city of Galilee, and taught them on the Sabbath days. And they were astonished at his doctrine, for his word was with power. And in the synagogue there was a man which had a spirit of an unclean devil, and cried out with a loud voice, saying, Let us alone. What have we to do with thee, thou Jesus of Nazareth? Art thou come to destroy us? I know thee, who thou art, the Holy One of God. And Jesus rebuked him, saying, Hold thy peace, and come out of him. And when the devil had thrown him in the midst, he came out of him, and hurt him not. And they were all amazed, and spake among themselves, saying, What a word is this? For with authority and power he commandeth the unclean spirits, and they come out. And the fame of him went out into every place of the country round about. And he arose out of the synagogue, and entered into Simon's house, and Simon's wife's mother was taken with a great fever. Oh, we already.
You good?
Okay, cool. And with a rebuked the fever, and it left her, and immediately she arose and ministered unto them. Now, when the sun was setting, all they that had any sick with diverse diseases brought them unto him. And he laid his hands on every one of them, and he healed them. And devils also came out of many, crying out and saying, Thou art Christ, the Son of God. And he, rebuking them, suffered them not to speak, for they knew that he was Christ.
All right, so this is Christ casting out demons, right? You see, he not doing no hocus pocus. There's no holy water. There's no crosses. There is no tying people down. He's just saying, bye, get out, right? Now, mind you, he has the supreme authority because he's Christ, right? He's God's son. And they know who he is. That's why they ask him, are you the Holy One? Are you come to destroy us? Because they know they're not gonna be here forever. So they thinking this could be the time because once again, no man knows the time or the hour. So they don't know. They thinking like, uh-oh, our time up. We done had too much fun or whatever. But when it goes down, it said that he rebuked the fever. That's from the story we just read in Mark, right? And when it talks about the sick and the dire diseases, all these things, when people are being healed and stuff like that, these are diseases. When he's talking to Miss Thomas the other time, he's talking about like diabetes. That's not normal, right? That's a demon. And the crazy part about it is, right? He said he's trying to help people, and people rejecting the healing. That's not the people. That's a demon. Tell you don't do this. Because what's crazy is he's the living example of look. If you do it this way, you'll be okay. They like nah, I'm gonna depend on the doctor. The doctor ain't gonna do nothing but give you more demons. So when you have diabetes, right? The insulin and stuff not working. The medicine and the diabetes go to your foot. That's why they tell you can't stub your toe after a while, right? Because when you stub your toe, it starts bleeding. You can't stop the bleeding. Then what happens? More and more, the more you do it, now you gotta get something amputated, right? You're not amputating the disease, you're amputating the medicine because that's what's killing you. A lot of people don't know most of the times when you got these quote unquote diseases, it's not the disease that's killing you, it's the medicine. People, for instance, they got cancer treatments, right? They go to chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is radiation. That's how you create cancer in the first place. How is this helping? Because it doesn't get rid of the cancer. People like I'm cancer free. It doesn't get rid of the cancer. Let's say the cancer is big, it just shrink it, right? But if any other radiation comes back into it, it'll come back. So let's say you got thing and the girls get their chest chopped off. Okay, you cut off that piece, but that don't mean cancer can't come back because all cancer is, if you don't know, it's just too many white blood cells. That's all it is. There's nothing spectacular. There's nothing crazy, right? But you have fruits that get rid of cancer, like like a peach. When you open a peach, the seed inside the peach, and you crack it open, it's a seed in it. It's called B12, natural B12. But they sell B12 to you in the store. But my thing is, when you have B12, where are you getting it from? I know you're not just out here cracking open peaches. So now there has to be a synthetic version, but we can sell it to you. So instead of just letting you know it's from fruit, which everybody will eat, you can enjoy the fruit, you can have it. They're not gonna give it to you, right? And I say this because I was having trouble sleeping, so I looked into melatonin. I was trying to figure out what can I do to go to sleep. Melatonin works. If y'all don't know, melatonin comes from the brain, right? It comes from human brains and animal brains. Now I see melatonin gummies and all this other stuff. So that's two things when I'm thinking about this. This is a jar full of gummies that has melatonin in it. Where do you get the melatonin from? Right? So you're either getting it from human brains or animal brains, right? And if you are and you're harvesting, harvesting that much, is it safe? Because now it's not necessarily its natural state no more because the brain is producing that, but you must have removed it from it. Or it's a synthetic version. It's either one. So you know what I just do? I just don't take melatonin. I need to find something else. Let me go find a fruit or let me go find a tea that's in nature that God's already made that can help me with this process. But like I said, see, when you go to the store, I go to Walmart, it's like a whole thing of vitamins. What do I need to do that for? I just eat some fruit. The watermelon got majority of the vitamins you need in it. I don't need to go get all these vitamins. But you know what? What the watermelon can't do, it can't keep giving you this constant reimbursement of money. They can't make you keep paying for something, right? So this is Matthew. Is this the pig one? This is Matthew 17, chapter 17, verse 14 through 21.
And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and sore vexed. For oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Then Jesus answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Jesus rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. When then came the disciples to Jesus apart and said, Why could not we cast him out? And Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting.
So sometimes you got to pray and fast, right? Sometimes when you say you fasting, you give it a demon because ain't nothing for him to do. You fasting drugs or you fasting certain foods. He don't want to be with you no more. He can't do nothing. You ain't fun no more. You're not doing these things, right? But y'all see where it says lunatic, right? Lunatic is like a quote unquote crazy person, something like that. But then later on, it says that he cast out the devil. There was no sign of possession, demonic stuff like that. This is something somebody might see, like nowadays, a schizo, somebody with bipolar. That is a demon. They're not telling you this. That is a demon. When you look that word up, lunatic, it means somebody was crazy, but it has a demonic spirit behind it. That's not no sickness of like or you just got diagnosed. Nothing in your brain. There's a demon, and he's sharing the vessel. So some days he gonna call you a butthead. Some days he may say you lovely. It just it just is what it is. But you know what happens? We think that's a person doing that. It's not, and they hide themselves so well because, like I said, you've already like Satan. You're looking for the dude with the red horns. So when the pretty version of Satan come with the the earrings and the nice talk, he can't be Satan. He's too smooth. You're looking for the guy with the pitchfork. that ain't the guy. So they give you what they want you to look at, but then they'll come in a different form. Like I said, even Satan describes himself as an angel of light. So this is casting out. This is saying how casting out doesn't work. So this is Acts chapter 19, verse 13 through 17. You there already?
Yep.
Uh,
Then certain of the vagabond Jews exorcists took upon them to call over them which had evil spirits the name of the Lord Jesus, saying, We adjure you by Jesus, whom Paul preacheth. And there were 7 sons of one Sceva, a Jew, and chief of the priests, which did so. And the evil spirit answered and said, Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are ye? And the man in whom the evil spirit was leaped on them, and overcame them, and prevailed against them, so that they fled out of that house naked and wounded. And this was known to all the Jews and Greeks also dwelling at Ephesus. And fear fell on them all, and the name of the Lord Jesus was magnified. And many that believed.
no, you good.
Okay.
All right, so it says at the beginning, it says the vagabond Jews, the exorcists, all took upon to call the spirits out. They couldn't do it. I'm trying to tell you that's not how it worked, right? And the demon even talks to him. He says, "Hey, I know Paul, and I know Christ, but who are you?" He's laughing at him, and that's what they do in most of these little horror movies. They'll laugh at certain priests and stuff like that because these priests be having sins and foul things too. But they really don't believe in God. They really don't have that type of faith like they think they do. So what they're trying to do is work a deal out. Well, look, let this person go and go somewhere else. Go here, go there. It doesn't matter. Just get out of here. Don't be here. But when Christ would say something to him, or Paul, or somebody who actually has his power, they just come out immediately. So you see anybody just we've been here for the 7 day in the Exorcist. He gonna be there probably 7 more days. Or maybe until somebody dies because that's not how this is supposed to be. But see, they're not gonna tell you that they got all these bad things about them and stuff like that. And that'd be the problem because if you have a sin, you come in there unclean, they're gonna be able to get you, no problem at all. But I was just trying to show you that part where, like I said, an exorcist, which is a thing, those are people who are trying to expel demons, but they're not doing it the way Christ wants you to do it. They're not doing it through the uncleanliness. I mean, being clean. They're doing it through being unclean, so they can come in there and be like adulterers and stuff like that, trying to cast out a demon. A demon like you as dirty as me, because you got a demon with you. I'm gonna cast you out for it, or why you gonna let me cast you out? That's not gonna make sense to them, right? So this is Matthew chapter 10, verse 1, and this is Acts 8, 4 through 8.
Oh, okay, my bad. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease.
All right, so when he was telling the disciples, they gave them the power to cast out all the unclean spirits, all the diseases and sickness, right? One, to get people to believe. So they'll be like, oh, somebody got healed being blind and things like that. But the two is to show them that that's what the world is filled of unclean spirits, full of unclean things, right? And this is why, like, when Christ sent him to the pigs, I believe I got that scripture. Yeah, so I'm gonna talk about that next. All right, so on Acts 8, verse 4 through 8, it just talks about how they're doing the miracles around people who getting out the unclean spirits. So go ahead.
Therefore they that were scattered abroad went everywhere preaching the word. Then Philip went down to the city of Samaria and preached Christ unto them. And the people with one accord gave heed unto those things which Philip spake, hearing and seeing the miracles which he did. For unclean spirits, crying with loud voice, came out of many that were possessed with them, and many taken with palsies, and that were lame were healed. And there were great joy in that city.
All right, so it says the palsies and people that was lame and stuff like that. So people that's like paralyzed, people who got motor skill function, somebody who probably got like a handicap or something like right, and they're telling them they're getting them all out. Those are unclean spirits. That's somebody being unclean. Like for instance, like with autism, I found this out recently. Autism is like somebody like the demons setting up a embassy of demons. So they set up an embassy in the child's head. And this is why the child goes through all these different modes and things because it's not the child, it's actually a bunch of demons and they all have access to this particular thing. And this is how they do it, whether it's drugs, alcohol, as you saw. They're trying to just set up access to make you sin because that's what they want. They want their territory back. They're not going to get it, but they're like, we're going to hell. That's why they was talking to Christ. They was like, well, you come to get us. So they know where they're going. They was trying to take as many people down with them, right? It's more of that misery loves company. They want as many as people they can get, right? So this is Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 20. You there?
Mhm.
All right. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was about to just be rolling. All right. Mark 5, verses 1 through 20. It's still 11, but I'm going to go to the next one. So go ahead.
And they came over unto the other side of the sea into the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken into pieces. Neither could any man tame him. And always night and day he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him, and cried with a loud voice, and said, What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God, that thou torment me not. For he said unto him, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And he asked him, What is thy name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Now there were there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding, and all the devils besought him, saying, Send us into the swine, that we may enter them. And forthwith Jesus gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. And the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. There were about 2,000, and were choked in the sea. And they that fed the swine fled and told it in the city and in the country. And they went out to see what it was that was done. And they come to Jesus and see him that was possessed with the devil, and had the legion sitting and clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. And they that saw it told them how it befell to him that was possessed with the devil, and also concerning the swine. And they began to pray him to depart out of their coast. And when he was come into the ship, he that had been possessed with the devil prayed him that he might be with him. Howbeit, Jesus suffered him not, but saith unto him, Go home to thy friends, and tell them how great things the Lord hath done for thee, and hath had compassion on thee. And he departed and began to publish in Decapolis how great things Jesus had done for him, and all men did marvel.
All right, so Christ tells this guy, tried to hang out with Christ, and he tells him, "No, go tell everybody what happened, because he wants you to talk about it, spread the word, let you know the Savior's here, but also, the good things that happen, because he's not unclean anymore." But the part I wanted to show you was the part about the unclean spirits, right? How he cast them out, and they asked to go into the pigs. Well, you have to go to the pigs because they unclean. So they don't have to have access to go into a pig. It's already unclean. But they couldn't just go into a sheep, or they just couldn't go into an ox, because those are clean animals. In order for them to go into a clean animal, they had to have a blemish, right? This is why during the Passover time, the lamb that you sacrifice is not supposed to have no blemish, right? Because it has to be perfect, just like Christ. He can't have no blemish, because when you blemish, you have an uncleanness in you. And you have an uncleanness in you, you're not clean anymore. So you won't really see them casting out things and stuff, right? Now, from my readings, I believe you're not supposed to have like dogs in the house, right? People was like, oh, well, God, we may have this and that. It's not because of that. The dog's an unclean animal, regardless if it's friendly or whatever the case may be. It's an unclean animal. So, what you don't realize, when you have a demonic spirit near you or something like that, he can get to that. He can get to that animal with no problem, because the animal's already unclean, right? Even if you want to say it's like in God's favor, stuff like that, you rarely hear about, I guess, possessed sheep and stuff like that. But you'll hear about certain things, but the animal has to do something or be, like I said, some type of blemish or whatever the case may be. So that's why they chose pigs. They could have chose any other animals, but they chose pigs. Or you hear about pigs, right? You may hear about like witches. They use cats, another unclean animal. You don't hear about a witch using a dove. You don't hear about a witch using a deer. You hear them using about animals that's already defiled, because that's easy for an unclean spirit to go into. Like I said, they have rules they gotta follow, but we don't know about the rules. So with us not knowing about the rules, we tend to mess up. And we tend to make mistakes and things like that. So I wanted to show you that dynamic about, like I said, uncleanliness. So just imagine it's an unclean pig, right? You eat this pig, or you eat unclean things, you open the doorway for sicknesses. You open the doorway for a demon to mess with you. That's, like I said, that's all it is anyway, it's a sickness. You open the doorway for all these things, because those are sicknesses. Like I said, when you're sick, you got fever, XYZ, is a demon in you. He's trying to get you, right? And think about it. When you get these sicknesses, 9 times out of 10, you got it from somebody, right? Well, that's what they say. But most of the time, it's because you're eating unclean stuff, right? You're doing something to the body. Your body that's what have smoking, drinking, and certain foods. Like I just found out, this is one of my favorite chips. They say it's not a real ingredient in Doritos. Like, not a real. I said that is crazy. Like, how is that not a real ingredient? But you know what? I know how it is, because the CDC is that's that Center Disease, and then you got the poison control, and then you got FDA, which is the Food Drug Administration. Well, they all the same people. So it's easy for stuff to get passed back, at the same person making the antidote, making the poison. So I'm gonna make the poison, but I'm gonna make it just poisonous enough that if you take this antidote, you'll be good to go right back to the poison. You think it's okay. But when I saw that, I was like, dang, I like Doritos. I eat Doritos. I was so upset. Because, like, how does this thing have all that? But then when I just started looking at everything, right? When you go look at products, almost everything got corn syrup in it, or corn, or some type of different kind of sugar or thing. And you know what they got you doing? You better count calories. That's not true. You can have a banana, and a banana can have, like, a banana may have 140 calories, and you have a cupcake that may only have 110. And you'll think that the cupcake is better, but the cupcake has a lot of unnatural stuff in it. The banana is straight from God. It comes from the trees. You good, but they got you counting the wrong thing. They got you counting calories and stuff like that. Well, you need to be counting, reading ingredients. That's what you need to be reading. Like, there's no reason why they sell what's it, vanilla extract, because I got some vanilla extract. It says pure vanilla, and it had like a little alcohol to it, right? Which would make sense. But then when you go to like the dollar store, or you may go to Family Dollar, their vanilla extract, the first ingredient is propylene glycol. If you don't know what that is, that's the first ingredient made to make antifreeze. So basically, you just putting a little bit of antifreeze on you, but you're not going to know that. And the more you do that, this is why you're sick. This is why we breaking down things like that. We think this is just regular sicknesses. It's not. It's all demons. This is what they want you to do. This is why the whole garden and the fruit thing is not really about. It's not really about necessarily fruit bad or not. It's about knowledge, because fruit is what we do. That's what fruit is used. It's what you do. Somebody can say, "Oh, I do this, do this, do that," and then when you see what they've been doing, that's their fruit, right? So that's what you try to tell them. Like, this tree bears bad fruit. Yeah, it got some good stuff. Like people talking about weed. Weed do got good side, good effects, but it has a lot of bad. Cotton mouth, all these things, fatigue. You can eat and still be hungry. That's not normal, right? Oh, that's coming from it. But people will vouch for it. Well, it's from the earth. I say poison ivy from the earth too. You gonna smoke that? Well, no, you now you trying to be funny. No, I'm not trying to be funny. You're just making an excuse for something because that's not you making an excuse for it. That's a demon. Like, hey, don't let him tell you what to do. God don't want you doing that. Like I said, because now you want a different kind of path, right? And this the thing about God about being scared. So this is James chapter 2. You on that, John? James chapter 2, verse 19. Because I had a moment in time where I was coming across, that's at the bottom.
Shit. Excuse me.
I had a situation when I was coming across demonic forces, right? And I had a little worry, and I was just trying to figure out like, yo, it's God, is what have I done? Show me the way. And what they do is make you so scared of demons, right? And demons can be scary. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say they're not scary. But when I read I read it the other day and I kept reading it, and God gave me revelation on the scripture. It made a whole different outlook on demons, right? So this is James chapter 2, verses 19.
Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble.
All right, so everybody say they believe in one God, right? Cool, not a problem. But I tell you all the time, that's not it. You can believe in God because the devils believe in God too, right? But it says they tremble. And my thing is, right, if they could cause so much fear, right, so much fear and so much pain to us and people, and we're scared of them, but at the same time, they're doing all this terrorizing to us, but they are terrified of God. And that's supposed to be the person supposed to be saving me, my protector, my person. If I believe in God, I shouldn't worry about them no more because they're terrified. As much as they're scaring me, that's the same way they see God. They see God like, oh no, we want nothing to do with him, right? But they don't want you to know that, so they got to keep you away from God. And this is what, like I said, just being unclean, doing certain things, or being around certain things, certain music, all types of stuff, whether it's celebrities or not. If we keep you unclean, keep you in that state, you're not gonna know what to do. All right, so this is almost done. This is Luke chapter 10, verse 19, and Ezekiel 44 and 23. It is on the screen, right? Okay. I just, I can't see it, but
Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding, in this rejoice not, that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven.
all right, there you read Ezekiel.
And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean.
All right, so the first one in Luke, he's talking about giving you the power to tread over serpents and scorpions. Like I said, we got the power, and that's Christ, right? Because you saw they were scared of Christ. But if we don't have Christ in us, they're not going to be scared. Period, point blank. Because that's only somebody that they will submit to, or maybe a higher demon. So if you had a higher demon in you, they may submit to you, but that can give you misrepresentations or how you being misled, thinking that you got the power, but really it's really the power demon, right? And then when you read 44 and 23, people like myself supposed to be teaching people, right? I'm supposed to tell y'all the difference between being holy and profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean, because that's the problem. People don't realize like you being clean and unclean is an issue. When I was younger, I had friends who were Christians, or call them baby Catholics now. They will always tell me, hey, come to church and do this and that. And I'd be like, why? You do the same stuff I do. I don't see the difference. So in my eyes, I can't see the difference between somebody who's clean and unclean, or holy and profane. But now that I'm learning the word and God showed me a different way, I can see I'm not about to hang out with nobody. Somebody offered one of my friends, you want to come to this, I guess like I don't know, a harlot spot. No, I'm not going there, right? Before I would have went there, but I couldn't go to a harlot place and then say I'm with God. But when I say I don't want to go there, I don't want to do that, doesn't mean I don't sin or struggle with sin. It's just I'm trying to separate myself, because how could somebody learn and really believe I'm Christ-like? Well, how could they really be I'm following God if I'm doing the bad stuff that you're doing? There's no way we can all go out to go mess with girls and do drugs and party and then go to church and it's all good. That's not how this works, right? Because I'm not showing myself to be holy. I'm not showing myself to be clean. I'm actually unclean, and I'm using grace as a justification of my uncleanness, and that's not how this works. When you got grace, when you got to pay the rent, they give you a grace period. It might be, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, right? You still got to pay the rent. They done made it seem like the rent ain't got to be paid no more. No, 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 no. You still got to pay the rent. The rent still due. I'm just giving you a time period. Same thing with God. He gives you a time period to get your life together. All right. So this is the Ephesians chapter 6, verse 13 and through verse 20. So verse 12 was the first one I opened up with, and that's the what we wrestle with. Verse 13 to 20 is actually the little keychain that I gave y'all during Purim. It talks about what you need to fight this because, like I said, there isn't armor or physical things that we do to fight them. It's all spiritual, and we're going to talk about what the spiritual things are. So, verse 13 through 20. That's on the screen. Okay, I gotta make sure.
Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all
Perseverance.
perseverance and supplication for all saints, and for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my.
My mouth boldly.
There's nothing. Oh,
That's what
my
I'm saying, boy.
my bad. Mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in bonds, that therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak.
All right, so when it's talking about God, so you speak boldly, right? You speak boldly about the gospel. You speak boldly about God, right? Some people don't speak boldly when it comes to God. I know I do because people do not like being around me no more. I tell them about themselves, and the crazy part about it, I don't even tell them. They just ask questions. I'm like, "You sure you want to go down this road?" And they be like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay," and I'll tell them about themselves. But the thing about it is, I realize they don't have these things. So the first thing it says, you have the loins of girded with truth. People don't really have truth, right? They always want somebody to lie to them or tell them, "Oh, girl, you look good," or "You just not." No, 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 girl, you don't look good. You're 400 pounds. It's crazy. You don't look good. We need to get your weight down because you're gonna die, right? Because when you get fat, right, all that pressure is on your bones. Now you working out, your muscles get bigger, so your bones will get bigger. But when you're getting fat, your bones are getting bigger. So it's gonna create pressure. You're gonna have like type of, I got foot problems. I wonder why. You go to the doctor for feet problems. It's not a foot problem. It's food problem, right? All that can be solved with that, right? So you can't tell nobody the truth because nobody likes the truth nowadays. They Trump tell you the truth, it's a problem. They tell you a lie, oh, we love it. That's not a problem. That's a problem, right? It said the breastplate of righteousness, right? You should be wanting to do good. You should be wanting to, learn the law, live the law, spread the law around, right? And it's talking about your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, right? You should always be walking towards peace, always walking towards talking about the gospel. It's the ball, taking the shield of faith above all. I'm sorry, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, right? So with the shield of faith, because you believe in God, you block all that. Can't no demon come with you because you believe. Like I said, if you believe that God is God, you're not gonna be scared of them because they scared of God. So they can't deliver to you if you really got God in your life, right? Then it says, take on the helmet of salvation, which is the sword of the spirit. If you don't know what the word or the sword is, it's this right here. This is your sword, right? I tell you all the time, where your sword at? That's what your sword is. And it says, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the spirit, and watch thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints, right? So while you're doing this, right, even with your prayers, right, you're praying for discernment, you're praying for wisdom, you constantly pray for these things because, like I said, it's always a battle. It's not physical. Don't hate your brother next to you. Don't hate somebody who's even they white or whatever race they are. That doesn't matter. But people actually feel that kind of way. I was talking to my man and my friend, not gonna say his name, but he told some girls he was talking to that one of his biggest heartbreaks was with a white girl. He was like, "Dang, you had a heartbreak with a white girl," as if it mattered less because she was a different race. You see that? We already fighting physical. Mind you, it's all spiritual, but you're already fighting physical. And that's what the enemy wants you to think. They want you to think it's this and that. That's why so many division. Even the LGBT now, they divided. The trannies don't like like the other people. All they gotta do is make division. Bloods, Crips, it doesn't matter. This the mob, the mafia, Democrats, Republicans, Pepsi, Coke, they'll have you fighting all the time over the dumbest and smallest things, right? But that's not what it really is. It's really about truth, right? Truth, lies, righteousness, unrighteousness. It's really simple. Really simple. So this is the Psalms. Oh, it's on the screen. Okay, cool. It says, I gotta make sure, man, because because I'm moving over here. It says the Psalm of David, judge me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity. I have trusted also in the Lord, therefore I shall not slide. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. Try my reins and my heart. For thy loving kindness is before my eyes. And I have walked in thy truth, and I have not sat with vain persons, neither will I go in with dissemblers. I have hated the congregation of evildoers, and I will not sit with the wicked. I will wash my hands in innocency, so will I compass thine altar, O Lord, that I may publish with the voice of thanksgiving, and tell of all thy wondrous works. Lord, I have loved the habitation of thy house, and the place where thy honor dwelleth. Gather not my soul with sinners, nor my life with bloody men, in whose hands is mischief, and their right hand is full of bribes. But as for me, I walk in my integrity. Redeem me and be merciful unto me. My foot standeth even in an even place in the congregation while I bless the Lord. Right? So it's talking about how he doesn't like the evil people, he doesn't sit with people, stuff like that. But you just saw Christ sitting with sinners. So it's a difference between sitting with sinners, teaching the gospel, trying to get them to change their life, compared to hanging out with people who's doing sin, who ain't got no business trying to change. It's not the same, right? Yeah, you can tell a stripper to, change her life around, but you shouldn't be at the strip club throwing dollars. That's not how this works, right? You shouldn't be outside with people selling drugs and stuff like that, right? You can talk to them, be amongst them, but you shouldn't be around the activity and things like that, because 9 times out of 10, when you're around those, God necessarily not going to protect you, because you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation, right? I can't, not saying he couldn't protect you. He could. Don't get it twisted. He could protect you, but why should he? Because now you're not listening. It's just about like you had a child, you tell your child to go outside, hey, stay on this street. And you know what your child do? Go multiple streets over. It's not that you couldn't go multiple streets over. Maybe I couldn't see you, or maybe because it was kids or somebody over there doing, such and such or whatever. Because they're not understanding the surrealness of what's going on. Because like I said, everybody in the world ain't trying to find God. It's not all, nice people. I'd be seeing certain stories like on Instagram and stuff about people. I saw a lady sell her daughter to somebody. Like, how do you sell your child for somebody? I'm like, first of all, how much money did you even get? Because I can't imagine. It's like, yeah, he 50,000. I need that, and you just sold a whole baby. But people do things like that, right? I'm not supposed to be hanging out with this lady or people that's around them. But what happens nowadays is the sin is justified because that's what everybody's doing. They justifying it by grace. They justify it to their own righteousness. You don't want to hang around a bunch of people that's doing sin. Because the thing, when you hang around a bunch of people that's doing sin, who's to say God wouldn't take you out when he's ready to, amongst that crowd or whatever, because they're doing sinful things. You don't know that, but that could be your time. Just like when Job, I talked about last time about the birthdays. Job's sons was doing birthdays. They thinking it's sweet. He ain't take Job out, but he took out the family and everybody was around because they were celebrating birthdays, right? Or honoring themselves higher. You don't know when God's wrath is going to come either. So it could be today, it could be tomorrow. It could be 30 years from now. Who knows? But you don't want to be around that. So you remove yourself from those situations. And yeah, I guess if it was fun, go find some new fun. Make new fun. Do this. People are like, you boring. Hey, it's cool. I'm boring. I'm alive. I'm good. Because y'all be in their situations. I don't want to be home driving drunk and can't make it home. I don't want to be in a situation where I crash my car. I don't want to be in a situation where I just happen to get shot. I just saw a video of this lady. This was crazy. She's married. She was getting married like maybe in 2 days, right? But she was out with another guy. So she's out with another guy. She already wrong. Number one, right? She out with another guy, and the guy's drunk, and he got a gun, right? He can carry a gun, whatever. But he's so drunk, she don't want him to hurt himself. So she takes the gun from him and just holding it. As they're walking, and he's drunk, another guy sees this, and he thinks that they could be a threat because he's drunk and he's mouthing off. That guy winds up shooting that girl. That girl is dead. She's out of here. So the guy who had the gun, he ain't even dead. All that, and just think about it. You were supposed to get married in a couple of days. Why are you even with this person? You put yourself in dangerous territories. Because like I said, you could be around somebody like him who's unclean, not realizing the demon, like, well, I don't care about you, because all I'm gonna do is kill him next or kill whoever. But we don't see it that way. We see it as the things we want to do, why we want to do it, and stuff like that. So that was today's lesson about being unclean, how you should stay away from unclean stuff, whether it's food, whether it's even music, TV. Yeah, I mean, I just see a lot of stuff. I mean, it's hard to say. And look, he mentioned it. I said, you watch, I started asking about scary movies. He was like, nah, because if I don't see it, it ain't gonna be a thing. And when he said that, I was like, that's crazy because when I stopped looking at certain things, it's not really even a thing to me no more. I can't really imagine it. I can't envision it. But just think about what people be looking at. Most shows people like is full of drama. People stabbing people behind backs. They be family members. They like, I hate you or this and that. Just set up after set up. Like this is joyful to you. I started watching. Like, this ain't even a show no more. This ain't nothing but just sin at its highest point. But I thought about them. Yeah, if I'm not seeing those things, I'm not doing those things. I don't. I can't get into my head. It can't, right? And you can try to put it in my head because I wouldn't know what it looked like. If I'm constantly watching something or doing this, then you'll start thinking like, oh man, I can't go to the store because whatever. Matter of fact, it was I give you an example. I'll get to your head. I love Final Destination movies, right? All the little crazy stuff be happening, and we was talking about remember the Goblin Disposal was messed up. And the first thing I thought about was like, no Final Destination because it's already in my head. Thinking as soon as I stick my hand down here, that thing will go and cut my hand. I ain't sticking my hand down there. I'm gonna unplug everything and put on an iron glove. But like you said, it made sense when he said I was like, nah, I never looked at it like that. And then I started thinking about it, whether it was music I was listening to or stuff, because once it gets into your head, now it become a thought, vibration, and all this, and then you might act on it. People that want to listen to music, oh, I can't listen to this. I'm trying to go hurt somebody, so you're gonna put on music to hurt somebody. You already you don't even say you program. I said, yo, you got to do that. It was definitely in you to begin with. So now you just kind of influence to even do something like
I
that.
got a new one with all y'all.
A new one.
Yeah, with these trans people, when they start coming at you, you say, you're not committed. You're talking about it, but you're not committed. You say, what you talking about? So you still got your original part? Yeah, well, you're not committed.
You're not committed. Yeah, so just like I said,
when you become committed and you get rid of your original parts, then we can talk. But as long as you got your committed, you're not even committed yourself.
yeah, but it's funny you
So a
said
woman
that.
can a woman? I don't know, man.
You know, they cut it off, they cut it off and do all kinds of stuff.
But can a woman change herself to get it?
Yeah, she can.
Man, I ain't never know. I just
So-
always hear how to do.
but it's-
get
but-
his face shoved up
But
and
the
all.
but the problem but the problem is the XXXY. So your body's still producing women and things. Yeah. So this transgender, I don't know how to say it. But I don't know, transgender, transsexual. It was a guy who's supposed to be a girl, right? And he said nobody will ever experience love like love from somebody like us because we got the best love. So he goes on this rant. He's mad because I guess his boyfriend wanted to break up with him because he said he couldn't give him a baby, which is true. You can't give me a baby because you're not a girl. And he's like, that's crazy. I just hate men, X, Y, Z. I said, so when you say you hate men, do you hate yourself because you're a man too? But you see how crazy, that's a lunatic. You see how crazy this person is? You've gone, what happened? Oh yeah, that's how crazy it could be just thinking about how somebody
First of all, things crazy. But
thinks so. Yeah. The whole thing is crazy. But like I said, all that comes from uncleanness or somebody telling you this is cool, this is that, and then they were like, we gotta fight for our rights because what happens is when you change the situation or the narrative and it doesn't fit what they don't want, it's a problem. So this guy said he said a system should come up. His name is Andrew Wilson. He said we should make a system, a voting system where everybody don't get to vote, right? You got to do something like have like you got to work 3 or 5 years as a civilian. When you don't get paid, you get paid by like the government. But it's showing your dedication to vote. But he said because everybody should have a single vote. Because he said this thing is stupid for somebody to vote for one person and somebody vote for the other person and they live in the same household. That makes no sense. And I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And the girl was like, well, everybody have a vote because everybody's here in America. But then he said, well, a 16-year-old can't vote. And she was like, yeah, but he's 16, his brain isn't this and that. But that 16-year-old can also be affected by the laws that he can't vote for. So either way, it doesn't make sense. But that's the thing. They just want you to have nothing but confusion, nothing but fighting. Because just think about it, we fighting over the dumbest laws. You go over here, or your tenant windows can't be this dark. Or you go over here, your gun can only have this many bullets. It's all the same grass. I ain't even go nowhere. If I ain't see the sign, I wouldn't even know the difference, right? And all this changes, but it's all through uncleanness because that's what the demons and the devils want. They want you to be unclean because the more you unclean, the more you live in filth, the further you get from God. And the further you get from God is the closer you get to them. And that's the closer you get to them, that's the closer you get to hell.
well, that's why the situation is now. It's how far the demons can move you from God. That's it.
That's it. That's all it's about. How far they get it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got nothing to do with how you feel, what you think. It's got how far can I move you away.
Yeah. So when I want you to get that baconator, triple baconator, that's what I want you to do. We got to start, and like I said, you start out small, and then you graduate, and you keep doing worse and worse things, and people don't see it. Like I said, there's no reason for that lady to be outside with another man who's not her husband or potential husband. And now you did, that was a sad scene, but it was like, yeah. And mind you, that could have all been avoided if you was doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I hear so many like different situations or scenarios. I heard about some lady put two of her kids in the oven. I'm like, that's even crazy. You put two kids in the oven. I was like, dang, you put babies in the oven, bro. But the crazy part about it, they was like, yeah, she justified. How? Or did y'all hear about the children that broke into some guy's house and he shot all three of them and they did, and now the parents want to sue the guy? I said, bro, they broke into his house. I'm not understanding. And it's just 4 o'clock in the morning. What are 2 15 and 16-year-old boys doing at 4 o'clock in the morning? You see what I'm saying? But that's what it, like you said, all you gotta do is get away from God, being unclean and unclean and unclean and unclean. But that was today's lesson. I thank everybody for coming.
Yeah, so just remember, when they start coming at you, say, you still got your stuff. Commit yourself, and then we can talk. Once you commit yourself, we can have a whole conversation about it.
I hope y'all definitely learned something, and I hope y'all take the information with y'all. Just think about, like I said, when you're in the store, look at your food. When you listen to music, listen to the words. When you're watching TV, just think about the program or whatever's going on. Because like I said, they do so much stuff. I didn't realize how deep it go. And I got so much information. I just couldn't tell y'all all in just one setting. But like information like maybe like Jason, right? It's Friday the 13th. I never really thought about that. Friday the 13th was the day when they grab up Christ, right? And Jason Voorhees means like killer or something. Right, so this whole time they producing or promoting, killing Christ or whatever the case may be. So just want y'all to think about those things. Just think about those things while y'all out here and about, living your everyday life. And I love y'all. Peace, shalom. We're gonna say this prayer and then we're gonna eat. You got a question?
Yeah. Hey, so I thought, so you said when you pray, you go through Jesus to get to God so they don't hear it. Because if they go straight to God, they can hear it.
Yeah.
Break it up. So when I'm praying,
You're like your mailman. You want that package to be secure with
I
that
insurance
on it.
God, but I never really do it to Jesus, so I should pray to Jesus and then.
Also, the question is not praying to God, because like he said earlier, when you say God is
Could be any.
is a category.
Right.
It's not a particular one.
Right.
If you say his name, right, then that's who you're talking to.
That's why if you hear me talk, I might say like, all praises to the Most High, by way through Yeshaya and Rawak.
Yeah.
It says by way through Yeshaya. So that's the person sending the message, and the Rawak is the Holy Spirit. Or I'll say or even the Lord's Prayer says, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Right, everything is going to Him because even though we got a Lord's Prayer, they got one too.
Probably why.
And it sounds similar, but it's not Heavenly Father. It's like demonic Father, or something like demon Father. But they got one just like it. So it's saying you got to be careful of when you're using certain words or saying certain things. Now, mind you, you've been praying, but even when you don't know, when you know, you become aware of it. But just know when you come aware of it, you'll get more spiritually attacked by them. Because they like, look, he's in a way. But you should always. Now, mind you, it doesn't mean you can't get it. It doesn't mean it won't go there, right? It's like a baby when the baby prays. They don't know no better. Well, God hear that. He got them.
Where is this in the Bible? It says he says, you don't even know my name, right? You say you talking, but you don't know my name. So how you talking to me?
What scripture is that, bro?
That's what I'm saying. He'll tell me.
It's in there that you don't know my name.
Yeah,
so
you
what,
don't know
what
my
passage is that?
He'll tell you.
You say you don't know my
You
name.
know the actual
I
passage.
don't know that.
Oh, yeah, he said, so
Do you know God's name?
I was about to ask you, what is God's name?
It's Ahaya.
It's who?
Ahaya.
Ahaya?
Ahaya. AHAYAH.
Right there.
It means I am. I got you.
I
I
am
am.
that I am.
I am that I
What is
am.
God's name.
Ahaya.
I am.
Ahaya Shah Ahaya. It means I am that I am.
So all that other stuff.
It's foolishness. Jehovah,
Oh, that's
Yahweh,
Revelations. That's what it is.
Yahweh, all those names are not his name. Yeah, Yahweh Shai, Yahuwah.
It's foolishness.
It's foolishness. It's not foolishness. It's actually the names of Satan, whatever he want to choose his name to be.
Okay, fine. I received that. I just wanted
Yeah.
to know. I just had that.
Oh no, but
it's
what's crazy is you might have heard it before. Like I'm pretty sure you've seen like an old Indian cartoon, right? If you don't know, give you a real quick breakdown. And it's like Haya. They was saying God's name. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's so mind you, if you don't know it, right, and you didn't know what you didn't know before, that doesn't mean God doesn't hear you because He know that your level of understanding ain't there yet, right?
Fact.
I'm there, so when I talk to Him, that's what I'm doing. But before I wasn't talking to Him like that. I'll be honest, I was saying God, and I didn't know. I was never saying Jehovah or nothing like that. But I was
God
always.
spelled backwards as well.
It says dog, but God is not a Hebrew word.
And then they use the term dogma, and dogma is
Because
religious.
because it's not a Hebrew word. So God created the world through Hebrew. Christ speaks Hebrew. When Christ is talking to people, he's talking to people. He's not talking Greek. He's not talking English. He's not talking Spanish. He's talking Hebrew because Hebrew is a natural language. So the word God that we use, the real word is called AHAYAH'S. It means powers or judges.
You said AHAYAH.
AHAYAH'S. So anybody could technically be AHAYAH, but that's what they call the angels, XYZ. Or you might hear it said like El, right? Michael.
Like Elohim.
Elohim, yeah. So that's the updated Jewish version of it, but it's Elohim. Elohim. It just means power. That's all it means.
Gotcha.
So anybody could be an Elohim.
Mm.
That's why it's dangerous. You get what I'm saying? So when God tells him his name, like I'm God Almighty or I'm AHAYAH, I'm letting you know exactly who I am. Because when you say Lord, Lord could be anything. Master could be anything, right? But when you put my name on it, it's a different situation.
So I don't. A lot of pastors don't associate with me because I asked them because they say you're a slave to a master, but it said in the scripture.
They
it
can't.
said in the scripture, "He who the Son set free is free indeed." So how
All
am I a
right.
slave if the master if
The reason why they can't tell you that is because that's part of their.
Oh, you asked a good question.
They can't tell you. They can't tell you that. They can't tell you that because it's a part of.
It's 501c3.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So certain things they're not allowed to tell you. Now, mind you, they may not even know they self. But like I said, Satan is.
They know.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
School and they really want to college
But
study this.
but even if you go to seminary school or something like that, because I've looked into that, they're not going to teach you the Bible. They're going to teach you a doctrine to teach us to keep us enslaved. Yeah. I'm not going to teach you indoctrination, bro. I'm going to teach you Bible.
Right.
So even if I don't like it, I'm going to teach you because that's what God want me to teach you. So we don't eat pork.
Right.
Not because I don't eat bacon. I never ate it before. It's because God said it's dirty. Don't eat it. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to let you live in this dirty grace and be unclean. And this is why you will have problems in your life and stuff like that. So I'm never going to teach you like that. Yeah. But they will teach like that because they have rules that they got to follow and they got to go by.
Right.
Right. They're not reading the Bible. They're reading what they want. They're picking and choosing.
They're picking and choosing from the Bible.
Correct.
Nice.
If they read it how I'm reading or how I teach you, it's a whole different situation. It's all good. Anybody got any questions? I mean, I'm pretty sure he might, but I'm gonna say a prayer. Yeah, I'm gonna say a prayer. I mean, people on YouTube, you probably do, but it's all good. So, Shalom. I'll see everybody. That was something on YouTube, so I'm gonna just cut it off.
I remember you were telling somebody about being fat, stuff like that. I had a client, little short thing though, fat, and I called her fat.
Hey, you got the nerve to be skinny as me. You go crazy, man.
And she said, I said, what? She says, nobody ever called me fat.
See what I'm saying? That was the first thing, right? That was the first thing it features. There's no truth. Nobody's been telling her like, hey, baby girl, you big. got to put the fork down. And you know what's crazy? You ever see 600-pound people? The doctor, he tell them about themselves. Yeah, but you have to because ain't nobody else telling you this. Obviously, they just like, what you want for breakfast? I want 30 pancakes, 30. Nah, bro. Yeah.
Baby, you don't need to eat. You got 4 months worth of food up in your
in upstate situations, to me, over 300 pounds, you get a whole lot of help. Because after 300 pounds, you can't even do nothing no more, really.
No.
Your body can't move itself at that point.
Exactly. So
it's 400 pounds.
400
Once you get to 400 pounds, you got this weight on you, this bad on your knee. Like like my brother 360, he's functional. He could tackle everybody in the head. Like he fast, and you'll be like, it's deceptive.
No, I'm talking about 300-pound fat people. Your brother probably do. Yeah, but he ain't fat. I'm not fat.
I'm talking about my brother. He's fat. My brother's fat. My brother's fat.
No muscle, huh?
No, he's strong. He can bench press 350 pounds of the draft, but he's fat. Okay. FAT fat. And I like, He not ripped up the fat. He's fat. He got the gut. But those people you talking about, once they get big, they got that fat hanging down and they can't move. Somebody's feeding them, man.
Yeah, somebody feed.
Because there's no way
Might give them help.
Yeah.
they got help. Some
All right,
they
so-
eat a pack of bacon, two things of eggs, but this brother still doing this.
I know y'all probably hungry, so
This brother doing this scrub.
I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna pray and we gonna eat.
Chuckle around here.
We love each other.